Hello ladies, I apologize again for Sunday. My hands are a little bit better, not the best, but they are better. I still cannot do any kind of caning though. So what I thought of showing you today was to play a little bit with some leaves, and because I got some questions in the last week. Hi Jessica. In the last week about alcohol inks, I thought of showing you also some alcohol inks. Now, what I want to show you, hi Karen, hi Sharon, what I want to show you first is when you choose from whatever leaves are still left in your, if you're in the northern hemisphere, whatever leaves you still have left in your garden, because I was talking about that the last time. What you have to be careful about is the back. You want to have pretty strong veins on the back. And what I'm showing you here are, these both are alder tree. But this one is from a baby, from a sapling. This one is from a grown tree. But as you can see, and the leaf is a little bit more rigid. Hi Colleen, hi Darla. This one is a hibiscus. As you can see, it's kind of dying, even if it's a hardy hibiscus. I have some hardy hibiscuses. A couple of them died. I had 4, I still have 2, but they make like plate size flowers. I'm still hurting some because willy-nilly I still have to do some stuff around the house and it still hurts. Hi Ramona. So one of the first things that we are going to do, and I showed this in one former tutorial, but because I have so many tutorials and videos out there, I think I'm well over 900 right now. I need to go back and start putting numbers on them. Let me grab this and make it on a thinner. So if we grab just some black, okay, and you can do it on other colors, like if you still have some of the jungle green, it would work, but your best bet still is the black. And let me actually work on a wax paper because it's much easier. And I'm not going to use all this because I don't want to contaminate all of it. And you can use regular like petal or teardrop cutters for this. Of course it had to drop on me. Anyway, so what you want first is to make sure that you have a very nice and flat top, because remember what I was telling you, that even if you go with your clay through the pasta machine, it might still have little dips and bumps and all that stuff. So you want to use the shiny part of a wax paper piece to make sure that it's all nice and flat and shiny. See, now I have it very nice and flat. And because you can put, and after I make this, I'll tell you exactly how you can work on it. And actually I don't need all this piece. Let's put it on here, because then I can just put the piece in the directly in the oven. One more. So what I'm going to do is to grab a leaf, and depending on what you're trying, what you're trying to do, this size would be like earring type, And what you want to do is to make, like, I would go for like 2 or 3 per ear. Make 2 or 3 of these, and then grab a chain and jump rings and attach the jump rings to the end of the leaf, and then attach them to different links in the chain, and they will make very nice dangling earrings. Now let's go ahead and grab first my eyeglasses, and I'm going to simply use some regular Perlex or whatever other mica shift you have. It doesn't really matter because we're gonna cover it with resin, so it can even be eyeshadow. You don't really care about that. So I'm going to put some mica powder on the leaf. Okay. Hi, Sing. Kanchana, or how? Which is the first name? Because I don't know. With Asian names, I'm a little confused. Because I know in some Asian cultures, the family name comes first, and in other Asian colors, the first name, given name, comes first. So I don't know which is the. That's okay, Sarah. It's gonna be here waiting for you. So I'm going to do a little bit of a mix of golden, and this is the yellow-green duo. But you can do whatever colors you want. You don't have to go just with these. I chose these because they are more fallish. Okay, so I got this done, and now I'm going to grab it, flip it, and place it on my clay. And then we're gonna get a miracle. Yay. A pretty miracle. I know the feeling. Okay, so let's gently lift it. What did I do with my X-Acto knife? It's somewhere. This is not it. Goodness gracious me. I'm gonna use the needle. There we go. Look at this beauty. See how gorgeous it looks like? And then you can go with the needle, or if you want with the X-Acto knife. And first do the full. If you have leaves like these ones that I have, like the elder leaves that have a little bit of serrated edges, it doesn't matter. You first still grab the full circle, full line, and then you can come, because that was the thing that I was telling you the other on the last live, that if you don't have a veiner and a cutter, you can do it with just leaves from your garden. So I thought, why not just show how to do this with leaves from your garden. And you simply follow the little serrations in the leaf. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, I was telling you so many times that you must not go for, oh, this must be absolutely perfect and I have to do it absolutely perfect, otherwise it will not be good. No, most of the creation is the spur of the moment, and a lot of things that are imperfect are among the most valued pieces of art in the world. So unless it's something that absolutely requires a certain measurement, be it on the size of the clay piece, be it on the recipe mix that you need to follow, and those are very, very rare cases. Unless that is the whole thing, you shouldn't worry about it being perfect. Okay, so now if you want to leave it like this, do not use Pearlex, use perfect pearls, because perfect pearls get bonded with the clay. But if you're using this, if you're using Pearlex, and you can put resin on top of it, just don't use a lot of it. And normally I will put this on a mirror, but I have all my mirror tiles busy with other stuff, except for one that I'm going to use for something else here in a little bit. So you're gonna say, yeah, but I have all those serrations, how am I going to work with those? Well, very simple, like you work with anything else. You just bring the toothpick towards them. So first you go towards, make kind of like at the end of the serrations, and then gently pull to the top. You can perfectly cover this even with the serrations, and if you're very careful, you are not going to spill anything. It's preferable to pull, not push the resin. It's less likely to spill. And always prefer to have, even if it seems that you have less resin that you need, it's preferable than to pour too much resin on your piece. When you pour too much, yeah, it can be fixed, but it's a pain. So better pour less, and it's much easier to add than to remove, right? And this is pretty much it. And as I said, you can grab even smaller leaves to do this. Let me get it in the, oh, come on, turn on. Yes, it's too skinny to be of any help. Okay, the next one, it's going to deal with also with a leaf, and I'm going to use translucent, and I'm going to get it, it's not on the thickest setting, but kind of like on a 3 makings. And this time I'm not going to color at all. I'm going simply place my leaf. And if you have any leather leaf, that would be good. If you have any grapevine, that works great. But the elder is one of the most common trees in the US, so it's easy to use. Also, if you have any mimosa trees, those little leaves, I don't know why I didn't bring any because I have mimosa. Those little leaves make a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful imprint. There you are. Alrighty, my other leaf is done. So let's see. It wasn't on mirror, so it wasn't very stuck on the, I mean it's stuck on the thing, but not on a rigid surface. So as you can see, it looks great. And the thing is, because it is, and it's not a lot of resin on it, and because it is like this, what you can do, you can actually remove it from the wax and do the same on the other side and then bake it. So you'll have a two-sided pretty leaf. But let's go ahead and work with this one now. Oops, I guess I did press very hard. And the leaves are kind of like on their last leg. So I'm going to use this again, but if you have any maple leaf or something, the maple leaves are good. I don't have any maple in my close proximity. Maples don't do that terrific in Oklahoma because we have those deep freeze and ice storms, and our weather can change a lot from one day to the other. So what happens, they get what's called sun scalding. That means we might have in winter a day with a lot of sun and that's a little bit warmish, so the sap starts flowing, and then right after that, by the time the night falls, we have below freezing, and all the sap freezes, and of course it expands and completely removes the bark from the maple tree. And because maple trees have such a thin bark, the bark never recovers, and whenever they get sun scalding damage for over about 15% of their trunk, they are gone. Alright, so I'm going to just use this one, and I'm going to show you two different variants of doing this. So first is just with plain translucent, and I'm going to post some photos of this after it's baked, or a tiny short video on the Facebook page, so you can see how it looks like. Alrighty, let's do this here. And this is based, and I showed it in, and you probably saw in other tutorials before, and I showed it before, but the whole thing is on the, oh god, I always forget that physics term. It's when a tiny tube sucks up a fluid just because it's tiny. Anyway, so let's grab some ink. Oh, I'm going to use, let's see, let's use some Santa Fe red and some orange, and I want a green. And first, I'm gonna use lime green because it's a little bit more yellowish. Now what? Not the Santa Fe, but the coral. Alright, I'm gonna have a little toothpick prepared. So what I'm going to start with is the green, and just place it and as you can see, it's kind of taken by the little grooves. It's just picked up right away. I don't really need this one here. And then let's use a little bit of the orange. No, I always prefer Piñata because, and that is since I discovered that Ranger is not waterproof. Because I had made some cabochons of a specific faux gemstone, and guess what? I had to, of course, sand it, and there was a whole bunch of them to be sanded, and I didn't finish sanding by the time I went to bed, so I left them in the bowl with water. And some of those cabochons were clay that was actually colored with Ranger. It was some with Piñata and some with Ranger. And the next morning when I woke up and I wanted to, go finish my sanding, all the cabochons that were made with clay colored with Ranger were white or transparent, had completely lost the color. So yeah, I always prefer Piñata for that specific reason, because then I was thinking, hold on, so if I make a pendant and somebody's wearing it on a sunny, hot day, and the pendant is kind of like, laying a little bit lower on their bosom, and it gets a little bit better. Hi Beth, hi Kazimi. And she gets sweaty, then that pendant is going to lose all color. So yeah, I'm not using Ranger inks anymore, at least not for polymer clay. Okay, so now the way it's going to look like, it's going to look like painted. It's going to look like painted. Sorry, I didn't realize I was getting. So on top of this, so I had some darker colors. If you don't have all these colors, you can always use a green and a red or an orange, but you will need a yellow to top it. I cannot open this one, so sun bright yellow, no. Gonna go with golden yellow. I cannot open and I don't want to have to go and get some pliers. Okay, so I'm going to just do a few droplets of the yellow. And make sure that this time all my clay is nicely colored. And as you can see, if need be, just pull it over the areas that need coloring. I forgot to tell you, I am sorry if I might be coughing and stuff, but I was Благодарю you, Sveta. But I was at the grocery store earlier, and it's a grocery store that I have no idea what the heck they are using for cleaning, but every time I go there my throat gets sore. And yes, in this case you do want a paper towel that's got these little print like things, because it's going to leave a pattern on the leaf. So that's why you have to be very careful when you look at your paper towel. Make sure that these, whatever you have dotted, is towards the clay. So just make sure that you get it all. Up. Any extra, you get it up. Now you can leave it like this, and then again you can do exactly what I said for the resin one. You can place it on another, and I showed you how to tip on the other side. Just put the wax here and then flip it, and then you do the same thing on this side. Now another thing that you can do before baking, of course, another thing you can do before doing anything else is to simply grab your alcohol bottle and give it a spray or two, and then you're gonna have to use the paper towel again. Don't use too much alcohol and wipe very fast, because you don't want your clay to start being because alcohol has the tendency to dry clay up, so the clay might become a little crumbly. If you, it's one of the methods to do crackle, actually. So once you're done with one side, you can topple it around and do the same thing on the other side, and then you'll have a two-sided thing. But you always have to make sure that it is well dried. Okay, now I'm gonna have to let it dry properly before showing you the crackle thing. And this is kind of dry, but see how it has the tendency to break where it was thinner. Now to make the crackle, where is it? There it I'm going to use this to show you something else. I'm not sure if it's dry enough right now, but I'm going to try. So to make the crackle, you simply start pulling it. It works better on white clay than on translucent, but at one point it will start making very, very fine crackles. I have a Finnegan here. Come on. It's not perfectly dry, and that's why it's got some issues. And the crackle will be very, very fine and very, very subtle. But it has to be left alone to dry out properly. Okay, I'm going to refocus this from a close-up so you can see. Give me just a second. See? But if you put it on translucent, it won't be that apparent. You need to put it on white clay to look more apparent. But you can always do, that's what I wanted to show you, that you can always do a crackle using alcohol inks. Okay, let's go back. Thank you, Kitty. Let me make sure I'm well focused. There we go. Alright, now another thing that I'm going to do, and you can do this just by dropping a little bit of alcohol on some translucent. I'm not going to mix it much, not just because my hands hurt, but just because you shouldn't. Okay, so after you put some, and you don't need to imprint anything on it, just put some drops on translucent clay, and then you need to fold it a little bit. And I'm using the Premo here because it's easy to see the effect even when it's not baked yet. But with any of the other brands, the translucent, as you know, it's white and opaque, so it doesn't work that good. And then you get it through the pasta machine on a thin setting, pretty much as thin as you can. So you get something like this. Now, even if you don't go this thin, and you can put another leaf on top of it, and then use just some alcohol ink to underline the veining. Or you can put some powder and then lift what's left with packing tape. But the other thing that I'm going to do, give me just a second. Now I have this is a more expensive one, but there's a whole bunch of cheap variants, and actually you can find in my influencer store. If you give me just a second, I will show you, and they are really, really neat. Oh, please. I forgot to sign in. Give me just a second. We'll get to it. Alrighty, so this is the link for the ones of you who don't know. I'm on the way of filling up the Canadian Amazon, but doesn't, what's the name of that? Shades of Clay have clay? I thought Shades of Clay had clay. Let me check. Let me see what they have. If they have clay. Polymer clay. So let me show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so shadesofclay.com, they do have Cernit, they do have Premo, they do have some souffle. Now you have to be aware of the fact that a lot of the polymer clay suppliers out there, they are not very well stocked because of the problem in the supply chain. But yeah, they have Cernit, and let's see on the Premo, they have the 1 pound, the 8 pounds. Solid color is just one. And they do have all kinds of colors, so they do have. So try Shades of Clay. I mean, it's the only store that I know I bought from. There might be other stores, but I don't know about them. Okay, so if you go in my, I put up the link, right? Yeah, if you go in my store and you scroll down to go to metal leaf sheets and flakes, and you go there, and as you can see, there are all kinds of colors of stuff that's more expensive or less expensive. Now the other thing that you have to think of is that, for example, the one that I have here is the, let me see what color it is the Red Blaze, Gemstones, Autumn Leaves, Summer Meadow. So I couldn't find one like this, but if you get the Autumn Leaves, should do the exact same thing, and the Gemstones. And yes, it is $10, but it's so much in here that you'll get plenty. The other problem that you might have with this kind of stuff is that because of the shipping, a lot of it will get pulverized, so you won't have a lot of the flakes per se. So your best bet is to get, because these ones are like 100 sheets of each for $12. So you have 100 gold, 100 silver, 100 copper, or you can get one of these that have all kinds of colors. There's another cheaper one for $9. So you can find more expensive or less expensive. With these ones, you have to be aware that the flakes are fairly small and they are not very large. I'll have to check on these, see if they are still available, because I told you it kills me with this supply chain thing. It's like things go in and out. You can go to Michael's and stuff, but as I said, it depends on what oh, I already got this. So what I'm going to do is to grab me a few of these flakes and place them here. Of course, if you have a sheet, you can go ahead and use the sheet, but I love variegated is my most favorite. I mean, I love the variegated. What is the variegated? Is the same. If you never heard about copper heat patina, copper heat patina is obtained by heating copper for different amounts of time and different temperatures, and sometimes you can brush on the copper various. And by the way, don't breathe in this because I just didn't. I sent a flurry of flakes all over the table. You can brush on the copper all kinds of substances, but it will make the copper look kind of like this, you know, pretty much like this. Makes all kinds of rainbowy or oil slick effects, and this is exactly how the variegated metal flakes and sheets are done, by heating. Until they get all kinds of nice coloring. So all you need to do is to place some of these. Try to flatten them as much as possible. And I'm not going to work to fill everything up, there's no need. I still can give you the idea of what I'm trying to do just by doing this. I think I did get metal flakes from Michael's quite a few times, because I used to love Michael's. I had the Michael's very close to me, but it closed, it moved to another part of town because their landlord increased their lease, monthly lease, and it wasn't good for them anymore, so they moved. And now the only thing that I have the closest, which is not still very close, is a Hobby Lobby, and I'm not very fond of Hobby Lobby. They have, not because of the super Christianity thing, because believe me, I don't care if I go in a Christian store, if I go in a pagan store, if I go in a Jewish store, Native American store, I don't care. My problem is that Hobby Lobby. My problem is that they have too much useless stuff, you know, and they are as pretty much as big as a Walmart market, so there's a lot of walking for me to get to the only things that I need. And it's not like they got much new stuff there anyway, because it's the same fake sale on furniture, which is never a sale on furniture because that price never changes. It just has some fictitious price, you know, scratched out with a so-called sale price that's always the same. Okay, so when you get to this point, the last two, just 1/2 tall it. Now I'm going to try and do this without hurting my hands. Yeah, always 30% off. It's kind of like those JCPenney Black Friday sale, where you see a blouse for $29.99, and then when you go on Thanksgiving or Black Friday, it has a scratched off $89.99 and the sale price is $29.99. I mean, duh. Okay, so you don't want to have to flatten it too much, because otherwise you'll get your leaf way too broken. So you want to get to about the thickness of your thickest setting on the pasta machine. And yes, you're going to have a lot of leftover, but it makes the most beautiful beads. And yes, Darla, I know I always go to the end caps, and they have a clearance section, and I always find something. All my findings. Okay, so I can grab, this is too big. So these are the rose petal cutters. So let's grab this, but before I grab this, let me give it a little bit of veining. Then I can cut it. And actually, I can use a little bit of clean wrap. That's okay. You can watch later. Okay, so this, and then I can give it just a little bit of a, unfortunately you won't be able to see much of it until I bake it, but as I said, I'm going to post some stuff on Facebook so you can see better. So because I did use the cling wrap, I don't have to worry about it being nice and shiny. I only use the green. And then of course I'm going to pick it up. And if I want to clean it even better, I just put some alcohol on my paper towel. And there we go. I only have the veining. But to show it close up to you, goodness gracious, Finnegan. Thank you, Carla. So let's go and refocus so you can see in a close-up. There we go. And the thing is that it will have some beautiful effects that you won't be able to see again until it's fully baked. But it will look fabulous. And to get back to making the beads, because I have all this left over. Okay, and then you start pressing and pressing and pressing. Make sure that you didn't grab any air. And now you can beat it up. And all this is going to look kind of like let me make them and then I'll refocus again. Alrighty, let's refocus. And then if you want, if you leave them like this, they're going to look pretty much like frosted glass, but you can put and again I'll show them to you on Facebook how they look like when they are done, but you can put varnish on them and they will look like I have another brain fart. There's the crystal that has gold in it, gold flakes in it. But anyway, it looks beautiful, and you can make earrings just with these. They are just fabulous. So anyway, I think that for the next, let me see, so the next should be the 20th. So I think we are pretty good in starting to work on winter stuff, and I will put up some lives with older tutorials on autumn and fall jewelry, so that you don't have to spend a lot of time looking in my videos, because as I said, there are so many, it's hard to find something. So that you'll still get some inspiration. But I will not right now. I need to rest for a little bit, because as I said, I went to a grocery store before the live and I usually need to rest after that. But I will show you how these look like after they are baked and after they are fully done. Okay, thank you so much, and I will see you next. It's 21st. Yeah, 21st, next Sunday. Okay, and we'll start working on the magical time of winter holidays. Thank you. I love you all. Don't forget to thumbs up, and don't forget to use my Amazon influencer store, because it helps me keep stuff up. Okay, thank you. I love you. Goodbye.